read through verses 1 through 9. Let's read. Now when they had escaped, they then found out that the island was called Malta. The natives showed us unusual kindness, for they had kindled a fire and made us all welcome because of the rain that was falling and because of the cold. But when Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on a fire, a viper came out because of the heat and fastened on his hand. And so when the natives saw the creature hanging from Paul's hand, they said to one another, "No doubt this man is a murderer, whom though he has escaped the sea, yet justice does not allow to live. For he shook off the creature into the fire, and he suffered no harm." However, they were expecting that he would swell up or suddenly fall down dead. But after they had looked for a long time and saw no harm come to him, they changed their minds and said that he was a god. And in that region there was an estate of the leading citizen of the island, whose name was Publius, who received us and entertained us courteously for 3 days. And it happened that the father of Publius lay sick of a fever and dysentery. Paul went in to him and prayed and laid his hands on him and healed him. So when this was done, the rest of those that were on the island who had diseases also came. They were healed as well. This story is actually the 4th missionary journey of Paul. He was actually, this is in the aftermath. Acts chapter 28 is in the aftermath of a tremendous hurricane that was, or typhoon. In that region is actually more accurate. It actually had a name that they named it. I think it was Euclidus or something like that. Something like that. That's the best pronunciation I can come up with right now. But they had this tremendous storm. Now, Paul, before they made this journey, he said to them, he said, I perceive that there is going to be peril on this journey. And he tried to admonish them to not go this direction simply because he sensed there was harm, there was danger ahead, and they didn't listen to him. But they went on anyway, and they got caught for 21 days in the middle. They got caught in the middle of this storm. Now, if you're in a typhoon, the worst place you could be is in a boat at sea, caught in the middle. As a matter of fact, that tore the sails up. It tore all the driving. Literally, they had to unload the entire cargo off the ship. They literally were just trying to hold on for dear life. As a matter of fact, at one point, everybody was going to jump ship. But Paul is a prisoner at this point in his ministry and his life. He is a prisoner on this boat. Now, a prisoner many times does not have a lot of say-so as far as commanding. How many know if you're riding in the back of the police car, they don't have to listen to you? You ever seen the show Cops? Or some other kind of police videos? There's a lot of times those people in the back give directives. And I have found that the majority of the time, and matter of fact, pretty much all the time, they don't listen to them. As a matter of fact, they're the ones that are incarcerated. They're the ones in handcuffs. And they're the ones but yet, Paul becomes the one in charge of this entire fiasco and this life-threatening disaster that's taking place on this ship. They're about to jump ship, but Paul stands up and says, "Men," he said, "the angel of the Lord stood by me tonight and gave me specific direction. Toss the cargo, but every man that stays on this boat that God has given to me, every single one of you, and you won't die." Well, now, if I'm in a boat, in the middle of if I'm in an airplane and it's going down and everybody said, "Don't jump," I'm not going to jump if the man of God says, "God's given me every one of you." Some of you are not connecting with me yet. You'll get there. We'll get you connecting the dots sooner or later. And this tremendous thing is happening, and now when they do crash into land, Every man is spared that was on the boat. Every single one that was on that boat was spared. Now, they've lost their ship, they've lost all their goods, they've lost all their belongings, but they've gained their life. How many know sometimes it's just good to have your life with you? I know there's a lot of times that there are things that we could complain about. But, one man said, I was complaining about my shoes until I saw the man that had no feet. And the man with no feet was, complaining until he saw a man that was quadriplegic. And then it goes on. How many know that there's always someone in a worse condition? Amen. And as long as you're breathing God's air, as long as you have life within you, you have something to be grateful for, don't you? We have something to be grateful all the time. It doesn't matter. And I realize inconveniences come. I realize luxuries are sometimes escape us. But sometimes, and I know that gas is at over $4 now, and now we're complaining. But how many know you got enough money to get here? And you know what? We still believe that God shall supply all of our need according to His riches and glory. If it goes to $10 a gallon, God can still take care of the righteous people, and no matter what shape the economy's in. Can I just give you a little hint? They say recessions here. They say recession. We are facing possibly another major depression. I've just chosen that I'm not going to participate. I'm just going to go ahead and believe God in the middle of all that. If God knows how to take care, and if Isaac can sow in famine, if he can sow when the economic conditions and climate were the worst, and he can get 100-fold in the middle of a tumultuous economy, guess what? Then God knows how to take care of believers in the year 2008. He knows how to take care of us right now the same way He took care of Isaac. They get to this place, they're shipwrecked. They get to this place, and now, this is what I want to center up on. This story is surrounding, and at the center of this story is one of the greatest Christians that has ever lived. At the center of this story, one of the greatest ministers of the gospel. He is responsible for over 2/3 of the New Testament. He is by and large, can you give me just a little bit more? He is by and large responsible for much of the growth in Asia Minor of the churches. He is responsible for establishing the protocol of much of the Gentile churches. He himself has started several different churches all over